Hello and welcome back. This is Sherry with Heart and Soulful in the studio today with a kind of a surprise new video, not what I was expecting to do. But if you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I hope if you enjoy this video, you'll give me a thumbs up and click on subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. For those of you who have been following my channel, you'll notice that I have not been posting for a while. I looked back and it's been about 3 weeks since I posted a video, and even longer than that since I recorded one due to wedding plans. If you've been following me along, you know my son got married at the beginning of May, so I was off for a week or so working on that. Everything was wonderful. It turned out great. And then I came back home after a week in our other home and got sick. So I'm fine now. It took me about 3.5 weeks. It was very strange. Don't know what happened exactly. Lots of tests, but I think I'm fine and I'm back to where I was before the wedding. So I had hoped that I would kind of continue with the series that I was working on. My last video was about stencils, and I had done 2 series on stencil making to kind of share with everyone all the things that I was learning about making your own stencils. And I did kind of come to the end in a way for me as far as all the things that I had learned so far. So it was kind of okay to end where I did. But my intention before I started this project was to do some gel plate printing in both the series of my stencil making series. I had used my gel plate to use the stencils that I was making, and I would show you those in each video, but I really didn't go and do any actual me working in the gel plate videos. So I kind of want to go back and maybe do some of that for those of you who have been following the stencil making videos. And so I plan to get to that at some point. And then also I had some other ideas about ways to use the stencils other than maybe the things that we've thought of or why you were making them in the first place. So I want to get back to that. But in the meantime, I had a special request from one of my Etsy customers or a YouTube viewer, not sure where they found that, but they had asked if I could do another journal that was similar to one that I had already made. So I asked, well, which one were you talking about? And it was one where this was the cover. And so I asked, well, what was it about this journal which sold that you liked so that I could maybe make something similar? And it was that they wanted something that was a French themed journal. When I looked back at the video for the one that had that cover, it wasn't necessarily a French themed journal, but because it had this fleur-de-lis pattern, I actually used the original old book cover that I just recycled, and that was the cover for the journal. And then I had used a variety of pages, some from my previous collages. These were my vintage journal volume, or vintage collage, I think volume 1 and 2. And some of them do have kind of a French feel and theme to them, but they weren't designed with that in mind because there are some pages that have English and German writing and different things. So it was more of just kind of a vintage style journal that I had done. So when this person asked if I would do something with the French theme, I thought, well, it's been a while since I've done any digital collage. That was kind of something new for me when I did the other 2. And so I thought it would be fun to do something that was just French themed, but that would coordinate with the 2 previous vintage ones that I had done, and also with Roxy Creations French Chateau kits that she has. I had purchased those last year sometime, I think, and I just love them. So I had created my kit to kind of coordinate just so that my journals that I made with them would not look exactly like hers. So I just did things that I thought would coordinate. And so for this new project that I'm going to be doing, I'll be using some of my other digitals. I'll put the links down below for those 2 in case you haven't seen them. But I have done videos on those as well, just as previews for my Etsy shop. So I'll put the links down below for you. But I wanted to quickly go through this one so that I can include it on my Etsy site as far as the video flip through of this, because there are so many pages in this new one that I can't fit you can only use 10 pages in your Etsy description photos, and you can do a little video. But I always like to do one that's really shows it a little more in depth, better than even the video that I can attach to my Etsy listing. So that's what I'm going to show you here quick, and kind of show you the journals that I'm going to make based on this kit. In the past, I have started making a journal and then decided to do a kit from the things I was making. I decided this would be fun to do this the opposite, so that if you want to craft along with me in the videos that I'll be making for this actual journal that I make, you can download this yourself and then just kind of craft along with me making your own journal using this kit. So this is the thumbnail that you'll see on the Etsy listing, and I'm calling it French Collage Volume 1 because there could be a Volume 2 later on. And I did kind of an experiment with this one as far as the layout size that I designed. I am in the US, so I print mostly on letter size paper, which is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. And a lot of you are in Europe or other parts of the world that use A4 size paper, which is a little bit narrower, I think. So it's 8.2 something inches, and then maybe a little bit longer than 11. So what I decided to do, rather than do two separate kits in those sizes, I would design it 11, which is the US letter size, and then the 8.3, which is a little narrower for the A4 size. So it's kind of a combo. I did that so that when you print them out, you can print them either way that you like, and the adjustment is going to be so minor that you won't see distortion in the pages, and at least not noticeable enough. Sometimes when you try to translate from US letter to A4, exactly those two, it distorts them. It, squishes them and stretches them this way. So this way, doing it, this was an experiment for me, and I really like how it turned out. So it's going to seem like an odd size to you, but there was a reason why I did that. For a lot of designs, abstract things or different things, it doesn't really matter. The distortion doesn't affect the design at all. But when you get into animal shapes or people, that kind of thing, you do see the distortion. So I wanted to make this something that would work really for everyone, and not have it be odd looking pages. The other thing that I realized in doing this is the journals that I make are mostly, there's different sizes. And for this project, I'm going to actually do two different sizes just so you can see. But one's going to be a little bit bigger than the other. If I zoom out a little bit. But what happens is I'm either cropping my page, see how much smaller that is to actually fit in my journal, and then I'm cropping part of my design. I have a printer that can print with no borders, but I'm never really making a journal that large anyway. So I thought, well, I'm going to make my design with the least amount of distortion. You can print them out in your printer settings to the exact size that you want to fit your journal. So, you would make a measurement and print it accordingly. So the pages that I printed for this journal are a little bit larger than this one. So I'll kind of show you how that looks, because I also don't print on plain white paper normally when I'm doing a vintage style journal. So what I'm going to show you just in this flip through I have printed all of these on 28-pound, just regular printer paper, copy paper, nothing fancy. And I did adjust the setting to a fine setting. It's not the highest quality, but it's not the normal setting. And part of the reason that I do that also is my printer is a really good quality printer, but if I haven't printed on it in a while, I will sometimes get stripes on my print. And if that happens to you, you might need to clean your printer heads if you haven't printed on it in a while, like I had went weeks without printing. But one solution too is if that still, your test prints don't come out great, just do it on a finer setting, and it will get rid of those lines. So sometimes that's the problem too. So this is the thumbnail, like I said, and I do have on here that they're 8.3 by 11, which is a weird size. There are 9 collage pages, 9 what I call B-side pages, and I'll explain that as I show them. And then I have a lot of extras because I did these in JPEG format. It takes up less file space than maybe a PNG. And that way I can fit more pages in my Etsy listing. So this is a really big kit. And I just, because I can't show all of them in the thumbnails or even in my photos, I just call them extra bonus. That's why I wanted to do this video, so you'll be able to see exactly everything that you'll get. Okay, so that's the thumbnail. So I have 9 collage pages, and they're heavily layered. Again, I just printed these on white, just so you can kind of see the actual color. And I'll show you when I print these, I print them on tea-stained paper and a variety of different tea-stained papers. So I'm going to find the same one. There's this. Okay, so this is the same. You can tell this one's just on tea-stained paper, and I have printed on both sides. So when I print for an actual journal, I'm going to print on tea-stained paper, something that has a little bit more texture and is not so brand new. And then I'm going to do the reverse side. And these are what I call B-sides. I've changed the opacity. I've maybe layered wallpaper or something underneath, or music page. So it's usually a couple of layers, but I've changed the opacity down so that you could actually write on these as a journal page or as a background and do your own collage. So they're more subtle on the back side than on the front side. So you can print those any way that you want, but that's just kind of what I do. So I've got 9, like I said, there's 1, 2, and this one I kind of did the other side, just kind of like a B-side too. And 3. 4. And everything on these I've done, you know, French text, just things that looked French to me as far as the design and that sort of thing, and the colors. These 2 gals, I even added little butterfly wings to them. I always love birds and nests, and so I've kind of done a little French ornate looking bird cage. So that's the 9 collage sheets, and then I have 9 B-sides that are all a little more subtle. So some of them are very light, so they're not showing on camera a lot, but I wanted them to be something more than just blank white paper that you could feel like you could write over. Okay, so those are the 9 B-sides. And then because I had more room in my Etsy listing, I happen to have some ledger, French ledger. It's a really giant, so I had to just, you know, do kind of half pages. So I did some of my favorite script ones, and there's 4 pages of those. These first 2 are printed without asking to fill the whole page. This is the actual size of the document you'll receive. These 2, same document, but I asked my printer to fill the entire page, so I just have this little bit of a border. So you can change those in your print settings when you print. And then I have a couple of French books that I took apart. These are the same, from the same book, but I wanted to show you. This is the actual size of the Etsy listing, but this one I asked it to print the full page. So it's the same book, but you can adjust the size to whatever your needs are. So that's 2 pages from that book. And then this is a different French book that was a French English. Instead of teaching you to speak French, it was a French book teaching English. So I just had one of those. And then because I had scanned that book cover before I made the journal, I was able to print this onto fabric. That way I can use it, and it, again, adjusting the size. I decided rather than have it, I think the first time I printed it, I don't have the spine. It was missing its spine, or it was really damaged. So I had printed the front and back, but that would be a really small journal by the time you wrapped it around the edges, like I did for this one. I haven't finished yet, but that's the cover. So I thought, well, I could do it, the front on one page and the back on the other page. That way you can enlarge it as large as your paper that you're using or fabric that you're using. And that way you can do different size journals. So I've shown this before if you follow my channel, but my favorite way to print onto fabric is to use a sticker sheet, plain white sticker sheet that's a full sheet. And then I just take some plain white cotton fabric, stick it to the sticker sheet, which this one's been used a few times. You can usually get multiple uses out of this one sticker sheet, but it allows you to stick it down, get all the wrinkles out, trim around the edge, and then it just goes right into your printer. I believe you can buy HP, I think sells fabric already mounted on that so that you can do that, but you can just do this yourself. Other people I've seen use freezer paper and different things, spray mount, temporary spray mount and that sort of thing, but this is just super easy and not so messy, and it feeds through really nice. So that's just sticker sheet on white fabric, same with this one. And then I also did an end paper so that when I do the inside of my journal, I would have some nice end paper that would coordinate with my cover. So I'm including that. And then I happen to have some French postcards. So I did 3 sheets. Some of them had writing on them, and then some of them didn't. So these are just some French postcards with some text. I went ahead and did them all the same size. So if you want to, like I have done here, some of them I have printed it onto cardstock and then printed the front and the back because they're the same size. That way I can cut them apart, glue them together, and then I have a nice sturdy postcard. And some of them that had writing on that, so that it can be like a journal card, I did not glue them together. I've just left the back white so that you can put lines on there or just use it as a journal card. So that's printing these onto cardstock, just 100-pound cardstock. So I have 3 of those. And I think that's it for that kit. So it's quite a large kit, like I said. I like that it coordinates with the previous ones that I've done, and that way I'll be able to use bits and pieces. I can print on envelopes and different things to get ready for the project that I'm going to be starting. So if you are interested in this kit, there will be a link down below. It's in my Etsy shop now. So like I said, I'll be posting videos soon creating these 2 journals so that you'll be able to kind of craft along with me. So have a great rest of your day. Now go make something. Bye.